So now that you understand how inheritance works on ES5, we're going to make the big transition here. It's actually relatively simple. Because you've taken the time to understand, the bottom of the pyramid, we've built up, and now you can get the beautiful, life-changing part at the top relatively easily. Now, I think ES6 classes and inheritance are so important to learn because, number one, they're ubiquitous today. Everyone uses them. They're the standard. Secondly, when you use frameworks like React, ES6 classes and inheritance are used in every component. In every component, you'll see extends, super, and classes, right? So for this video, you should already be familiar with ES6 classes, building them, how they work. I'll put my previous video in the description so you can watch that if you haven't yet. So let's transition all of this we wrote, all this inheritance, to ES6. First, let's build our class. Class B, very simple. Just add those curly brackets. Give me 1 second here. Okay, add these curly brackets. We put our constructor inside B, and then we add all our property assignments inside that constructor. Take our arguments inside that constructor. And instead of adding our methods directly to the prototype, we simply insert them inside our B class using this specific syntax. Then we make a B, very simple instantiation, just like on ES5, equals new B. We give it a name, Lara, like Lara Croft, and we'll give it a color, we'll say orange. Okay, now, when I run this code, where am I? Oh, forgot to console log it. We have a B with the name Lara. Oh, wait, let me do color. That way you can see it better. Okay, we have a B named Lara the B, color orange, position 0. Again, different syntax, same exact effect. Right, these are still in the prototype, and this B just looks to b.prototype to find its methods. Right, so if we do console.log, I'm sorry, if we just do b.buzz, my b.buzz, we'll see that these methods work as well. Right, we get a buzz. Great. So let's make our next class. Our next class is warrior B. Okay, now here is the question. Before, we used .call to extend the properties from our parent class to our child class. How do we extend the properties in ES6? It's incredible. They literally just put a keyword, extends B. Okay, now without doing anything else, let's see what our warrior B instance looks like now. Var my warrior B, actually let's do without extends first, equals new warrior B. Okay, we'll console log it. And what do we get? Let's console log color. What do we get? We get an empty object, right? Classes without anything create an empty object. But when we do extends B, what do we get? Boom. Oh, forgot to give it a name. Nick Red. Now, just from adding the extends, we get all the property assignments from B. Warrior B is taking everything from B. So before, when we did all that work with .call so we could pass to this, ES6 does that all for you. Just by using the keyword extends, it does that exact same thing for you, right? Now, when we actually want to add our own properties to warrior B, such as a battle cry, we open it up, we add a constructor, and here's the key thing. when we extend a class, when we make a child class, extend a parent class, and we want to assign something, like for example, this .battlecry equals I'm tough. Remember what's happening is implicitly, on the top of our constructor, a new object is being created, which is this equals object.create warrior b.prototype. Okay, and eventually we return this. Okay, but here's the thing. Remember, before we had to have .call. And here we had to say, b.call, this, name, this color. So we still have to have something in here before we can assign properties. And what that is it is the word super. The keyword super is the equivalent of doing b.call this .name color. This code, I'm sorry. This is the equivalent. These are the exact same code. Super calls the parent class with the this bound to the context of the constructor with any arguments you provided. So you have to have the super in before you do any other assignments. Okay, just like you had to have b.call, you have to now have super. Right? Let's save that. Let's look at our b. Oh, we did not put this here, my bad. Constructor takes those arguments as well. You have to add the parameters there so it can know how to get your arguments. Ta-da! Now we have nick the b, color red, position 0, and a battle cry. Okay, so note, very important here, you may get this error in React. You have to call super before you assign anything, just like you should call before you assign anything. Okay? Now, that's the basics of how subclassing works. There's one more thing I want to talk about. Let's go back to ES6. Let's imagine that we want our warrior bee to have a fly method. Remember, our bee already has a fly method, but let's say we want to overwrite it. And we want to make our warrior prototype, our warrior bee fly, even faster than the normal bee fly. So maybe we would do something like this. Okay, what am I doing here? Well, remember, oh, I have to pass into this. Okay. Our b.prototype.fly increases the position by 10. Okay? But what if we want our warrior bee, when it flies, to increase the position by 20? Well, we can just call the previous fly twice, right? Now, what does prototype.fly do? It increases the position of the this by 10. So when we use call, we say, hey, the this that you're referring to here, I want you to refer to my instance. So basically, we're calling fly, we're passing it our warrior bee. It's calling on our warrior bee. We're getting it back, so our position's now 10. We call it again. We give fly our warrior bee again. Now our position's at 20. And now we have a warrior bee that's flown, that's at position 20. Let's make sure this works. b.fly. Let's console log before and after. So top will be my warrior bee. And then we'll log it after. And let's run this code. Okay, position 0, we call fly, position 20. So this is one more thing of inheritance. You may want to directly call a method on the parent class, right? You may want to just directly call the method. In this case, we're directly calling b.prototype.fly twice. Now, how do you do that in ES6? How do you refer to properties of the parent class? How do we do the same thing? Well, we can add a method in here called fly. Now, to refer to a method on the parent class, you just do super.fly. So these two lines of code here, the exact same thing. b.prototype.fly.call this is the exact same thing as doing super.fly. Yes, that's the final thing there. Less common of a use case, but the most important things to understand are extends, creates that prototypal link that we used to have to do manually by doing this, right? Extends basically does this line of code, okay? Super basically does this line of code. You have to call super before you can assign any properties to this, okay? And that is ES6 inheritance. Really not that complex once you understand how everything works here. Now remember, it's still the same, under the hood it's the same. It's still prototype chains linking from a subclass to a parent class, right? The way we get the properties of the parent class is we bind the this, we pass that to the parent class, we get assigned all the properties, and we bring it back. It's still the same thing under the hood, but the syntax is a little bit different. All right, I hope you enjoyed. Please ask your tech mentors, HARs, or me if I'm still around. Any questions you may have about this, anything we can clarify, and we'd be happy to help. Thanks a lot.